smack it. Slap the record button.
Oh, I hit it so hard. I put a hole through the laptop with that slap. The record button's been smacked into the next dimension.
Recording crisp, clean audio for Pushing Buttons, episode 13.
Unlucky for some.
Which is actually, is that a bad omen with PlayStation 5 doing a live event?
What?
For our 13th episode?
What, you worried? You think they might know recording our 13th episode? Sony might.
I don't know.
I reckon we're on there. I reckon we're on
No.
this in somewhere. The Pushing Button podcast is somewhere on the Sony horizon. Zero Dawn.
Yeah, perhaps.
Zing!
Maybe. Superb work.
Hey, you know what? It's going to be an interesting week in the world of video games because Sony are there's going to be a lot of things, aren't there? Because Sony are talking about it.
Listen. It's an exciting time.
What?
We've got Microsoft.
What?
We've got Microsoft Xbox. Do you want me to speak up?
What?
We've got Microsoft Xbox coming in swanging with their numbers and their prices.
Ow.
PlayStation have been, sitting back, eating an apple. I don't know what they're doing, but they've been waiting for these numbers and prices.
I can see
pounce.
them eating. I can see them eating apples and looking at what Xbox are doing from a distance. That seems like the kind of thing Sony would do.
So now we're waiting for their numbers to compare to their numbers and see what we think about the numbers.
Well, do you know what? Tonight is the night that we will finally get our greasy eyes on those slender numbers.
You're so right. Play the jingle.
I've got a tiny little fly.
That's irritating.
They're
the worst. It is Daddy Longlegs.
Yeah, well, we struggle in...
Which is even worse.
They're the worst, man. We struggle a lot from tiny little, fruit flies in this house, which is weird.
Oh, right.
We really...
Got a lot of plants.
Yeah, we got plants, but also our kitchen window is right by the bins where the whole building's bins are. So if we open our kitchen window, then the bins are there.
So if someone looks at you and goes, "What's the matter with you? You live by the bins?"
Yeah.
You can say, "Yeah, actually,
I do, and it causes an infestation of fruit flies. So the joke's still on me, but
Yeah.
Hi, everybody!
Hello.
Yeah, it's episode 13 of Pushing Buttons, and we're ready here to fill your bodies with great chat, news, and a lot of fun. I'm joined here by Mark Liedale. Mark, how are you on this fine day?
I'm doing quite well. It's a strange time because we're actually recording in the evening, which is a new thing for us to do, which we've not done before. So it's very exciting. It's a little darker outside as September rolls in. It's getting darker here in the UK earlier because that's the
cold
season.
hands of Father Time are reaching around our slender necks and slowly throttling us as the days go by. Ooh, get him off! Get him off! Mark's deceased, everybody. Hey, everyone. It is great to be back with you. We are recording this in the evening here. It is going to be the PlayStation 5 event where we're hoping for some big reveals finally. But before we get to that, should we just go through all our usual rigmarole?
Oh, let's do that. Hey, listen, we kept getting it wrong last week. We kept calling the MVP the MLP, which is meaningless. Doesn't mean anything.
It didn't mean
That's
anything,
just
Mark.
wrong. What we mean is MVL, Most Valuable Listener. And if you're joining us on this app and you haven't gone back and listened, which you should, you Burke, MVL is Most Valuable Listener. And it's a person that goes out all over the internet, or maybe they're texting,
Could be.
Maybe they're WhatsApping, I don't know. But they're splashing our podcast to 5 of their friends, letting them know that we're hot, cooking, alive, well, kicking. I've run out of things
it was
to say,
impressive for a while.
But basically, tell 5 people and letting us know that we did it. Basically, it's as you said earlier, it's a verbal contract. We don't know if you've done it or not, but we have to trust your word.
So, basically, the long and short of it is that our dear Keaton Kendrick, who has been our reigning MVL for this, just doesn't have as good a ring. I mean, it makes sense, MVL, but anyway,
I know what you mean.
Maybe we'll
we're used to MVP.
Yeah, we are. We'll brainstorm
so maybe
a cool.
If we just keep saying it.
Yeah.
No, if we keep saying it, we'll get better.
Okay, all right. So, Keaton Kendrick, our previous MVL, has finally been dethroned by, of course, long-time listener and all-time, all-round good guy, Mr. Lawal Mohammed. He tagged us in a tweet in which he tagged 5 different Twitter handles saying something along the lines of, come listen to these guys. And you know what? That is all it takes, Mark.
There's no disputing it this week because I saw it as well. He was right in there. The episode came out. I swear it was an hour later or earlier. Yeah. I'm not sure, but it was super quick. Is the point I'm making?
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear it. All right.
Okay.
It's Lawal this week.
Let's hear Lawal's tasty, fresh, hot jingle. Play that thing. Ooh.
Difficult to rhyme that name. You've done well.
There's only so much one pair of hands and mouths can do. Oh, that didn't come out right.
Yeah, that didn't scare
me.
No. But anyway, thank you very much, Lyle. We appreciate it. And I happen to know that a couple of weeks ago, he was beaten by Keaton Kendrick. However, he also was on Reddit. I found him on Reddit. And he's been splashing our podcast
all over Reddit. Oh, okay. So, I mean, it's going to take a lot to dethrone Lawal from now on. And what I will say, this is adding an extra element, is if you are someone who has already been MVL and you wish to regain your title, you need to tell 10 people about it.
You need to send it on multiple, not just Twitter.
Not just Twitter.
We want to see proof of other places.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we move on?
Let's flipping move on. Mark, what have we been playing?
I can't answer that for you, but I can answer it for me. And over the past week, I've been playing more Dota 2, which is
you're back on it.
Ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Yes. I also gave another game a go. It's Space Hulk Deathwing, which is
excuse me.
Yeah, it's a name. Yeah, it's a heavy name. It's based in the Warhammer 40k universe. It's kind of like Vermintide, if you know what that is.
Yeah.
But you are a space marine. It's a first-person sort of survival shooter where you're basically fulfilling objectives as a squad.
Yeah.
So I've been playing with 2 other friends. I haven't played much of it yet, but it's very pretty in a sort of very dark kind of ominous way, and extremely difficult.
Oh, wow.
Our squad wiped like 3 times and we didn't really get very far.
Holy shit.
So it's very difficult. And also the game just seems a little not unfinished, but like not fully thought out. It's like they had a great idea and then they were just like, they lost steam with it and they just kind of just let it happen.
Oh.
So it's not really taking my breath away, but yeah, I've been playing that.
Okay.
And finally, I started. I had an itch to play some Fallout, so I tried New Vegas. But it's the problem with New Vegas for me. Everyone tells me it's the best one, and I believe them. I can see the humor. I've watched a lot of playthroughs of it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of humor and all the rest of it, and it looks like a tightened up Fallout 3. But I didn't play it at the time, so I don't have that like initial play time with it to give it love.
Yeah,
and it's kind of aged poorly. So I was like, you know what, I'm not really digging this. It's too old. So I dug out Fallout 4, which I've bashed in the past, and I'm sort of enjoying it for what it is. I mean, it's barely an RPG. Bethesda have been doing this since Skyrim, where they just go, let's just tear out all the RPG elements that make an RPG an RPG, make it simple as possible, and then we don't have to put so much effort into it. So it suffers from that. A lot of characters are very bland, but I am having fun actually.
I mean, I had a good time with what I played. I got pretty far into it. Didn't touch any of the sort of base building stuff that you can do. I just thought, CBA with that.
That is rubbish.
But there are some characters that I quite like in it, like the sort of robotic android detective fella.
Well, he's the best character in it. Yeah, Valentine.
He's rad. I really liked him.
Yeah, he's cool.
So, and there's some cool stuff going on. But yeah, it's funny, as you said. Like it's the most playable Fallout in terms of like mechanics, and it's the most up-to-date Fallout game, which means it's probably the one that I'm more likely to go and play compared to Fallout 3 and New Vegas, which is a shame because they just sort of are better games.
Yeah, they are. They definitely are. But unfortunately, I wanted to play Fallout 3, but Fallout 3 is unplayable from Windows 7 up. Yeah. Like completely unplayable because Bethesda just won't patch it and aren't interested in sorting it out. My
brother, young Jamie Bellum, he is playing. Well, he has been playing a lot of Fallout 3 on Steam, and said it has been a huge nightmare. And said he's had to download so many various patches and things to make it work. And said he's had a horrific time. But apparently, New Vegas works way better.
New Vegas does kind of just about work out the box. It has huge mouse acceleration issues within the menus, which if you don't know what that means, it basically means that when you open up a menu, you're used to your normal mouse speed. It just goes, "Hey, we're going over there," and you can't control the mouse, and it's an absolute nightmare. So you have to go into like the INI files and like edit the mouse acceleration. Which is just classic Bethesda. I had to fix Fallout 4 as well to play it because it was locked at 30 FPS, which hurt my eyes. So I had to go in and sort that out, sort out the FOV. I got it to lock at 60 because for some reason you can't really play it above 60. That's a console port issue. And then on the very occasionally, what it has been doing is either opening in the wrong resolution, so I have to quit and sort it out and restart again. Another thing it's been doing is been running at about 15,000 FPS, which weirdly works, except for two things that mess it up. And it's two very specific things it messes up. One is the lot picking. So when you go into the lot picking, you need the finesse of the left hand to like twizzle where like the bobby pin's going before you jimmy it.
Yeah. I remember it.
But that left hand just becomes like super speed. So you're like, it will go from left to right, just like, and you're just like, well, I can't finesse this.
Zero finesse.
So that's one problem. The other problem is it's the dialogue lines. They'll run over themselves. Yeah. So they'll finish one line and immediately start the other one, and all the lip sync goes out. So they'll be saying, "What Scrubs season 2? Hey, have you been down to the?" And it's just like, whoa, okay, can we just finish our previous line?
I'm going to need you to record some gameplay of this because this sounds great.
Well, I fixed the issue because Bethesda won't.
That's a shame.
But yes, there you go. Wow. The joys of playing Bethesda games: a mixture of disappointment, bugs. And what looks to be an unhappy future for them, especially with Obsidian now making their own games.
Yeah, you should write a book on the topic. I feel like you've got a lot of deets. I've just realised what the time is. We're gonna through this so we can get at the PlayStation. So
we got time for your
yes.
Gameplay.
So I mean, I have not been playing anything new. I've had quite a busy week, so I've been diving further into Resident Evil 7, which I'm absolutely loving. I've just beat the second boss, and I'm sort of in. I think I'm in the final stretch of the game, but I might be totally wrong. But I'm really, really enjoying it. Excellent game. Wasteland 3, I played a little bit more of, which I'm still enjoying. And Battletoads, just a lot of fun. Every type of gameplay under the sun. They've like shoved so many sort of retro arcadey game types into one game that it's constantly fun and changing. So yeah, if you've got Xbox and Xbox Game Pass, just download it because it's a lot of fun. But yeah, nothing new from me this week. It is.
Is that right? Something like that?
Yeah, it is. And I think when someone's phone starts ringing and that's their ringtone in the game, which is, it's just a great gag, great reference, and put a smile on my face at least.
A great little moment. Hey, this ep is going to be a special one. It's kind of going to be a bit more of a reaction. Because we're doing this on the cusp of the PlayStation 5 reveal event, or what is it? What are they calling it? What do they officially call it?
The big one.
Absolutely zero help. They've just called it PlayStation 5 Showcase. Anyway, yeah, because this is on the cusp of PlayStation 5 Showcase, it's going to be a bit of a reaction ep. It's coming in fresh, it's coming in hot, it's coming up immediately after the showcase has happened. Until then, we're just going to rattle off some news that has happened this week. And I'll start, shall I, saying that Nintendo have, again, I don't know if they foreshadowed this in any way, it's just popped up on YouTube. That's how I found out about it. They're doing another mini direct, and this time it's a partner showcase, and it's announced for the 17th of September, but it's a bit hard to give a crap, so we won't be waiting to add any additional edits for this episode.
And unless it takes us, massively, by surprise, and they just shove something ridiculously good in it, but from the recent Nintendo activity, that's probably quite unlikely.
Yeah, so if it turns out to be an absolute spanker, we'll tackle it later. Sticking with Nintendo,
spanker.
A spanker. No worries. Just wanted to bring up the 3D Mario collection again because we had a chat about this, and I think am I right in saying we're on the same page?
I think sort of. I think. For me, I would definitely
than you are.
Potentially, I think for me the main sticking point is the price point. So if it was say £25 cheaper, I would be like, yeah, this is actually really good value. As it stands, how much they're charging for basically totally just repackaging 3 old games and not really doing anything to them, I think is an outrage.
Yes, I agree. And someone else who agrees with that is Dan Mayer, or Mr. Pointy Head, as you might know him. We had him as a guest
we did.
On episode 5, and he was an excellent guest. Please go back and listen if you haven't. He's posted something on Twitter today on the 16th of September, and I just wanted to read what he said and see if you agree with it, because I really, really do. He said, "I'm fairly appalled by SM3D All-Stars. It represents Nintendo at its most lazy, money-grabbing worst, relying on the inherent quality of games rather than giving them the glow-up and quality-of-life upgrades they deserve. It's a sad day when Crash and Spyro give Mario a run for his coins. It's undoubtedly frustrating because I want to introduce my daughter recently enchanted by Odyssey, to these gems and Sunshine, lol. But rewarding such idleness with £50 only encourages such behaviour."
Yeah. For me, this is a sort of... There's an old phrase, you should vote with your wallets, and when you buy something, you are sort of endorsing it. And if you don't buy something, you aren't it. You are doing the opposite. And for me, if you are spending £50 on this, you are only rewarding Nintendo's poor behavior and poor choices. I think it's just anti-consumer and like Dan says, it's money grabbing, and it's just saying, look, these are 3 old games that we made. We've done nothing, and
we're just writing special edition on it and taking it off the market.
Yeah,
£50, it's worth it. You better get it. It's
get
worth
it because it won't be around much longer.
Yeah, I find it really bizarre, but I do agree with the sentiment, and I like the little stab at Sunshine because I didn't like it either. but yeah, he is right. It's completely how I feel about it. I don't really know what they're doing over there. Yeah. We've been saying this for a while, and this is just a really weird money grabbing move. And I also have recently read that Galaxy in particular is actually running off an emulated version. It's not even like a, something that's been worked up from the engine. It's just running on an emulator, which potentially means it will be a bit ropey.
Yeah.
Sometimes sometimes it's fine. Sometimes it's not that great. I think Final Fantasy VIII has that issue. Might be wrong.
I'll be interested to see what the reviews say in regards to that, in terms of how that runs. Okay, so This is another one that you probably have a bit more insight into, Mark, but I'm just gonna go for it anyway. The first benchmarks are out for the new RTX 3080, the NVIDIA new GPU, which show a healthy increase in performance, but not the double 2080 Ti that NVIDIA were touting. However, it is a significant increase for a lot less money than the 20 series.
Yeah, that's fairly self-explanatory. If you know what that means, you know what that means. They sort of perhaps bit off a little bit more than they could chew in terms of what they were saying. The actual double in performance over the 2080 Ti, interestingly, is in productivity, not gaming. So if you're rendering off the card and you're doing 3D modeling and stuff like that, actually the performance is round about double, which is very impressive.
Yeah.
But in gaming, it depends on whether you're on 1080p, 2K or 4K. The increase is more significant the higher resolution you go, which is amazing. So the increase is comparable to how releases go when the new series come out. It's not double.
Yeah,
but it is, a lot, and it's good. But also, you're paying a lot less for it. So you've got to take it all with a pinch of salt and look at the bigger picture. It's all very impressive. But if you were truly expecting the 3080 to be double the 2080 Ti in terms of gaming performance, that's unrealistic, and they should have been a little bit more careful with their wording.
Brill skills. Then the rest of the news is pretty self-explanatory, and it's fairly just matter of fact. So a Portuguese retailer has listed the Mass Effect trilogy for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Again, just announced the thing. Everybody knows it's coming, but there's some box art for that. It's probably fake, but
tell me when.
Yeah, exactly. Just tell us when it's out.
God's sake.
Please tell us when it's out.
Why are they blue balling us with that?
It's a disgrace. Next up, a new Splinter Cell game. Finally, what we all wanted, Mark. I'm certainly thrilled about that. But wait, no, it's VR, and it's exclusively for the Oculus, which is owned by Facebook and can go die in a big turd fire. I mean, the Oculus itself is a great piece of kit from all I hear, but I'm not a big fan of Facebook. So basically, Ubisoft is making an Assassin's Creed and a Splinter Cell VR game for Oculus, and it was revealed during the Facebook Connect event. It's just weird that Splinter Cell is just popping up in all of these weird places, but they're not actually making a new game.
Well, I've never liked any of the Splinter Cell games, I have to say. I've never liked any of them. They've never clicked with me, and I couldn't give a crap. I mean, no one seems to give an absolute rat's ass what Ubisoft is up to. To be honest, which is the echoing I hear from the halls of, "Hey, what's Ubisoft up to?"
Yeah,
is what I hear. And them teaming up with Facebook seems like a real dumb move. It's just more things to not care about.
Yeah, weird. But if you've got an Oculus, then I'm very intrigued to see what sort of a game it's going to be. Spelunky 2 is out on PS4 and is coming to Steam at the end of the month. I played Spelunky 1 and had a lot of fun with it. It's just a really sort of top-tier roguelite indie game. So Spelunky 2 is out, and apparently it's brilliant. I've seen some very high reviews. I think it's one of those things that if you played the first one, you're going to love this. But apparently it brings enough new stuff to the table to make it worth it. And a final nice bit of happy news. Sorry, Mark, were you going to chip in about Spelunky?
No, I don't. I was just going to say I don't know a lot about Spelunky, but when it comes to Steam, I'll take a look and see if it's my bag.
It's sort of like a sort of nice kid-friendly roguelite, which is great.
Right.
And finally, final piece of news before we check out the PlayStation Showcase, which is just starting now. Rocket League will be free to play on Switch from next week. Yay! But you will require a link to an Epic account when it is implemented. Oh, joy.
Ooh.
You've always got to have your accounts these days, kids. They got to get their claws into you somehow. But yeah, free Rocket League, great game. Me and Mark have played a lot of it, and it's just get it. It's free.
Yeah. I mean, I bought it on Switch. I think someone bought it for me on Steam, so I don't feel too bad. I haven't bought it twice. But hey, it's going to be free, and it's a bloody great game. Go give it a shot.
Yeah.
Apart from the Epic thing.
Right, Mark, let's watch this PlayStation Showcase.
Oh, baby, here we go.
Oh my days, man.
That was a very, very good showcase.
I mean, they just make it so hard for you to support Xbox. They make it so hard for you to not want to get a PlayStation. Holy crap balls.
They're so good at these events. Like, they just knock this kind of stuff out of the park. They do it so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you can hear, we've literally just finished watching the PlayStation 5 showcase. I think we'll go through it bit by bit and kind of rattle through it fairly quickly with some final thoughts and kind of get our reactions, as quick off the ball as we can. We don't want to spend too much time on each individual thing, but I reckon we should.
We'll go through it. And I think the thing is, because this is just a straight up reaction. We've literally just watched the showcase. You guys go away and watch it for yourselves. If you're interested, it'll be all over YouTube. We're bound to get some of the details wrong. I'm sure there is going to be lots of stuff you can look into for further details. Like there'll be stipulations about exactly when things are coming out, how things are coming out, all of that stuff. So yes, like Mark said, we're going to go through this kind of play-by-play and sort of give you some little reactions, but there's obviously a lot to get through, so we won't spend loads of time. First thing we saw, Mark, was it was rumoured for a little bit to be happening, but we didn't really know it was. But here we have Final Fantasy 16. We saw quite a lot of it, actually.
Yeah, baby, this was a rumour.
This was a rumour. We saw logo. We saw a lot of things, but the main takeaway here is, Mark, it is exclusive to PlayStation, Star, Asterix, and it will also come to PC, which seems to be a lot of the exclusives shown during this conference will also be coming to PC, which is great news for you, obviously. So it's an exclusive. Yeah. It looks it's going back down the sort of medieval high fantasy setting, although not quite as kind of campy as Final Fantasy IX, a little bit darker and serious, I would say.
Well, more medieval than Final Fantasy IX was in terms of actual medieval, like knights in shining armor. And Final Fantasy IX felt a little bit more sort of magical with a weird slight twist on medieval. This definitely had like a medieval underlined. I thought it looked really pretty, and the gameplay from what we saw, I think it looks really like fast paced. And the best, I didn't really like enjoy the cutscenes as much as watching the gameplay. That's what really like enticed me. It just looks super pretty and smooth, and just full of action and really like cool. The medieval vibe of it, I'm with you. I'm not like enchanted by that particularly, but I thought, it looks great, and it's good to see another Final Fantasy on the horizon.
Indeed, it is. Yeah, I'm not not crazy about the cutscenes. I thought it looked like classic, pretty naff acting and story stuff in a Final Fantasy game, but it's high action combat, not turn-based stuff. Looks fun. Looking forward to hearing more. Next up,
for sure.
A game that is we already knew about. A lot of people are very excited about. Miles Morales, Spider-Man Miles Morales. We saw a nice lengthy cutscene, which, as you pointed out while we were watching, very nicely, smoothly transitioned into some gameplay.
Yeah, we've seen that kind of thing before, transition into gameplay. Usually they're pretty kind of obvious, and they try to do it smoothly, but you can kind of see the character like go into, you can kind of see them go into a stance where you're then taking control of them. This is the first time where I've seen it go from a cutscene and it's like, oh, we're playing now, sort of thing. It looked really nice. I think the game looks pretty stunning, to be honest. They did it before they got to the action stuff. They just did some walking around Harlem, and it just looked really nice. A lot of nice lighting and sort of, moist from the rain.
A lot of moisture
and that sort of
showing
thing.
off that ray tracing with the moisture.
The main element was the action set piece, and it was very, very much a set piece. It was incredibly impressive. Again, you can go watch it for yourself, but he's basically saving people on a bridge and trying to pull a bus up and all this sort of thing. Hold the
It's a very
bridge together,
Spider-Man.
man.
It's something we've seen. Yeah, it's something we've seen in Spider-Man films and properties before. The bridge is falling apart. He puts it back together with some webbing and saves some people falling off the bridge in a bus. But it's done really, really well. It looks vibrant. It looks colourful, and it looks like similar combat to the first Spider-Man game on the PS4. But sort of amped up a little bit with Miles' own move set from everything that I can see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it looks good. It looks good. And I had a brief look, and it looks as though it is also coming to PS4 as well as PS5 for everybody that wants to know that. Mark, the next one, when it started, you were sort of like, I'm not really that bothered about this. It's a game set in the Harry Potter universe.
Yeah, I can't stand Harry Potter. I think the books are crap. I think the films are even worse. However...
holy stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's absolutely not for me. I think it's trash. However, the more we got deeper into this trailer, I thought, holy heck, if you're a Harry Potter fan, you have never seen anything like this in a video game set in that world before. Like the rendering of Hogwarts... just looks really awesome, and I think if you know that world and you're into that world, that you would have probably peed a little bit, because I know there have been Harry Potter games in the past, but nothing that looks quite like this. So I think you're set up for a treat if you're a Harry Potter fan.
I think so. It looks like you are really going to be able to live your wizarding fantasy and create your own wizard character and go around, build up your own skill set. And, I didn't get a hugely strong vibe of I mean, I'm guessing it's going to have RPG mechanics and that sort of thing. But,
they didn't go into it.
No, they didn't. They just showed sort of some story trailer and a very, very brief glimpse of sort of using magic against enemies. There was no hint at this being an exclusive. But I came away from it thinking, that's pretty cool. I like that you're not playing as Harry Potter with his scar and his glasses looking like a nerd. You're going to be able to create your own wizard and go around having a lark at Hogwarts. So quite into that.
Yeah, even I thought it looked good, and I'm not into it. So yeah, kudos.
Exactly. Kudos. Black Ops Cold War, aka the remote control car simulator.
Yeah, more Call of Duty, really. I mean, you were saying, and correctly so, when we were watching, that it's hard to get a feel of what the gunplay is like just from watching. It feels like Call of Duty, i.e., probably fine, probably just as good as all the previous ones. I do like a lot of the single-player campaigns. They lost me at Black Ops 2. I really didn't like that at all. But I do have a soft spot for some of the campaigns, the sort of seriousness of it, that sort of SAS style, covert ops. Yeah, I kind of like it. It's all right. The set piece they did with the plane, there's a lot of sort of slightly overdone action where he's kind of trying to shoot people on a car and the car explodes, and it's like, why? Yeah. And silly things like that going on. But obviously as an action set piece, it's sort of exciting enough. Does it make me want to buy it? Not really. I've got Modern Warfare. I'm kind of Call of Duty'd out. I'm enjoying dipping into that. I think if you're a Call of Duty fan, it's more of the same. You're probably going to love it. Yeah,
it looked very, very pretty. It looked like high octane action. Yeah, like you said, it's more Call of Duty. They announced that the Cold War multiplayer alpha is going to be exclusive to PS4, which is going to be, I believe, starting this Friday. So if you want to get
it's a free weekend.
Yeah, get in early to check out what the multiplayer is going to be like for Cold War. You can do that on your PS4, and it's exclusive to PS4. But yeah, like we said, it's more Call of Duty, but it's set in the 1980s, which was a decade. Okay, this one is particularly exciting for me just because I'm currently playing Resident Evil 7. This is...
I've still got to get on that bad boy, and I will.
Mate.
It's downloaded.
Just make sure you've got a
got
a couple of fresh pair of pants next to you. That's all I'm saying.
I will do. I'll put down some of that hydrophobic lino under the chair.
Oh my God. Or just sit in a... What are they called? The things that you can poo in?
Toilet.
No, I mean, that does make sense. No, there's a name for toilets, the chairs that have a toilet in them.
Don't know. afraid.
It's not
Portaloo.
No, it's really annoying because I know what it is, but it's just not coming to my head right now. Anyway, yeah. So we saw
anyway.
Resident Evil Village, which is Resident Evil 8, of course. Looking great. It's just it's everything I need and want. The village vibe and some of the kind of the baddies that were knocking about did remind me a little bit of Resident Evil 4, and just that sort, that sort of more outdoorsy vibe. Just really, and I felt good about that.
I was thinking the same thing because we've had a hint in the past that they are working on a Resident Evil 4 remake.
Yeah.
So before I realised that obviously it was 8, I did for a moment it was evoking 4, and I did wonder.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks great. Just looking forward to more of those Resident Evil spooks. They're fun games, man.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah, buddy. Okay. So that was Resident Evil Village. Next up, we had more of a look at Deathloop, which is a game we've seen quite a lot of already in the PlayStation showcases. But every time they're showing it, they're giving a bit of a bigger taste of the game. I think they were keen to show this one because it has been delayed. It was meant to be a sort of a launch window exclusive, but it's been delayed to Q2 of 2021. I think this game looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't like super sold on it when I first saw it. That's mainly because I didn't massively enjoy Dishonored, and it's that kind of vibe. This trailer has really gotten me interested. I think it stylistically looks really cool and interesting. They've just really amped up the vibe in this trailer.
Big time.
Which has really worked for me. Big time, really worked for me. Not sure what's changed, but I think maybe they just, it was kind of the exposition that was going on, in that sort of 60s kind of vibe that they were pushing. I don't know. It looks great. It looks like a lot of fun. I'd like to see more.
Yeah. I like the look of the combat. I like the look of the powers. It is, like you said, it's very Dishonored in terms of the way it looks and feels, but looks like a lot of fun. And they confirmed that it is a PlayStation and PC exclusive, because for a while I was under the impression that would also come to Xbox, but it doesn't look like it will be. So again, kudos to you, PlayStation, for snapping that right up.
Yeah, and they did say that they were going to be pushing a lot more of their exclusive to PC. So I'm in a bit of a win-win situation here.
You are indeed. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more about your situation, actually. So next up, a special edition of Devil May Cry 5 was announced, and it would be available digitally on day one of PlayStation. I'm not really much of a Devil Cray.
Have you played that game? Dante is so cray. That game is so Devil
Cray. Devil Cray, my God. Christ alive. It's late. We're not usually recording this late. Devil May Cry 5. I'm not really a Devil May Cry guy, but if you are, you're going to be happy because you can play it with quicker load times and all up res and nice on your PS5, my baby girl.
Yeah, nothing to add. I'm with you. I wasn't really a big Devil May Cry guy. I think it's too cool for school. I think if you're 15, it's the coolest thing ever. I think if you're our age, pushing into your 30s, it kind of comes across as like emo, too cool for school, and a bit silly. I did play 4.
It's got attitude, man.
It's got attitude. I did play 4. I had a good time with it at the time, but that's when I joined the series, and arguably was the wrong time to join the series if you go by a lot of the critics. Not amped for a special edition of it because I didn't play it in the first place and probably never will.
Okay, well there'll be a small selection of people out there who are absolutely jazzed for that. But next we had quite a long look at some gameplay from Oddworld, and obviously, Mark, you are the oracle of all things Oddworld, as we've previously established on this podcast. So, what's your takeaway?
Having tried to play the first one once and not liking it that much.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all nice and pretty again because it's a complete remake. The humour's there. I always did admire the humour and the character models from way back when. The gameplay for me wasn't my thing.
Same.
But I'm sure our friend Karis will be amped to see it in such high quality.
So she actually is the Oracle of
Yes.
Oddworld. So, Carius, if you are listening, I know you listen. I know you used to listen. You might have dropped off because you got bored of the sound of our voices. Which I don't blame you for that. But it'd be sad to know that you have gone off it. But I'll have to talk to you in person about Oddworld. I'm sure
From a social distance.
I thought it from a social distance. Yeah, it's not really my cup of tea, Oddworld. So anyway, on to the next one, which was Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach.
Security breach.
Not really bothered
Not
about
bothered. What's the next one?
that. Yeah, it looked like a new Five Nights at Freddy's game with some tasty graphics. Anyway, next one, Mark. I don't need to really introduce this one because, well, how I'm going to introduce this one is while we were watching it, Mark just let out a noise like, ah! Something along those lines, and then went silent and got very, very close to the screen.
Yeah, it's slightly embarrassing, really. It was a genuine noise as well. It's Demon Souls, and it looks incredible.
Do you know, like, do you remember when people used to get like the new Unreal Engine and they used to like remake either like GoldenEye or like Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time just to show off like what it looks like someone's made like a graphical showcase demo of a really old game. It looks so flipping good.
It looks so good. I mean, Dark Souls 3, still looks very pretty, but this is like just another level. But for me, hearing that voice line at the start is what made me realize what it was. And then seeing like the Souls game have a very particular aesthetic in terms of the armor. So seeing the shield and the helmet and then seeing him do the roll, I was just like, I know what this is. It's just like crack seeing that roll and like that combat style. I was just like, yes, fill me with this niceness.
Fill my cup.
But then like after seeing, that it was Demon Souls, actually looking at it, I was just like, oh my goodness, this looks so polished and tasty. It looks so good, and I do hope it's coming to PC because I don't know if that's confirmed. I can't remember.
I don't know. Well, no. There's been no word on that. We do know it's an exclusive to PlayStation, but that could definitely mean it's coming to PC. Like we said, that's been happening a lot. It's great to see gameplay, and it's good. I do think it's been great that in a lot of this showcase, there has been a lot of gameplay. Something that Xbox has been particularly poor at is saying this is running on the PlayStation. And they even said towards the start of the conference, everything you're going to see from now on will be running on the PS5.
We should mention. So the Final Fantasy demo was running on a PC, and the rest was PS5.
Yes.
So that's really good that they clarified that. What happens a lot, and Sony and Xbox are both culpable for this, is at E3 they'll usually run stuff on the PC, sort of secretly and not really tell anyone. And then when it leaks out, by the way, everything you watched was on PC, everyone's like, oh, for God's sake, come on. So this time they were just really upfront with it. Hey, this Final Fantasy thing, it's probably because it's still an early build, it was running on a PC, everything else was PS5, so you can rest assured what you're seeing will look and play and feel like what you're watching now.
Indeed. Yeah, exactly. Which I think you're right. It's just really nice to get that sort of clarity. Yeah, Demon Souls looks beautiful. It looks like how I dream when I'm playing Dark Souls on my Switch. How I dream it could look like. It's just so well done, and I couldn't believe it was gameplay. It was that good. And obviously, take what we're saying with a pinch of salt, but I think it's for two people that love these games, the Souls series games so much, and to see one of those games look this good, I think was really particularly special for the two of us. Gameplay looks really great. Everything about it is good, and by crikey, I might have to get a PS5 solely for this game.
I got tingles. It just looks amazing. Anyway, enough gushing. What was next?
We're going to call this episode Mark Got Tingles. And do you remember the character from Majora's Mask?
Tingle, yeah.
Off Zelda. Yeah, he will be the thumbnail. Next up...
you confuse so many people.
Fortnite.
Doesn't link to Sony at all.
I know. I know, that's so true. Fortnite, boo.
So yeah, to their credit, they kept it really short. This was like a 25-second max, like little snippet, just to say it will be available at launch. Which, okay, yeah, is completely fine. I think that's targeted mainly, the younger people who are like, I mainly play Fortnite and Call of Duty or whatever, or FIFA. So if I get a PS5, there's no point. So I guess for someone who's like looking at these games that they want to play and won't be able to play Fortnite yet, yeah, you can play Fortnite. Don't worry. But yeah, I don't care.
I wonder how much Epic paid Sony to put that in, and I wonder how much Sony negotiated to shorten the length of that clip.
Yeah, it was pretty dang short, and we all appreciated it here at PB. So
we really did. I do not need to see someone smashing a piñata or people riding around in the battle bus. Anyway, so that, as far as we were led to believe, was sort of the end of the game reveals and games showcase. And then they kind of went into the pricing and also the kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? The sort of perks of the ecosystem. Yeah. The first of which is something that I'm really intrigued about. So obviously on the PlayStation side, they have PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now. I don't really massively know the difference between the two of them, but it's basically their equivalent of Game Pass. And as Mark was saying, they sort of did this sort of thing first, but Xbox has marketed it better and sort of done the whole ecosystem a little bit better. But the long and short of it is that they've announced the PlayStation Plus collection.
Yeah.
And then started to show clips from all of the sort of big hitters, the biggest titles that came out on the PS4. So we're talking the Uncharted games, Uncharted 4, God of War, we're talking Bloodborne, Last of Us Remastered,
The Last Guardian, God of War. Can't remember what you've said now.
God of War.
Anyway, but it was a load of like big PS4 titles.
All of those exclusive titles that you wanted to get a PlayStation 4 for, basically, none of which I've been able to play. So they announced that this PlayStation Plus collection, they would all be available on launch for the PS4. And this is where we need to definitely confirm this. But as far as we know, they are available for free. This isn't. I want to definitely confirm this, but if that is true, that is mental, because those are the biggest games of the last generation. Like, remember, Xbox didn't really have any great exclusive games at all.
Didn't have any.
All of them were on PlayStation. Exactly. They were all on the PlayStation side. So if you're someone like me who has skipped out on that generation of PlayStation entirely, the thought of being able to just be like, yep, well, I've got all of them. Day one. Amazing. That's insane.
Yeah, I think this is something we'll discuss more on the next ep. But the thing is that it's huge. Like, it's ridiculous. Presumably, you only get them if you actually join PS Plus. And just to clarify, for 12 months,
yes.
For a year, it's £50. For 3 months, it's $20, and for a month, it's $6.99. So I don't know how that compares directly to Xbox Game Pass. But the fact that they're just there available and you get them with your online and the rest of your PS Plus bonuses is a huge thing. And they did need to do something to kind of push back at the Xbox services, which are proving to be a huge value for money thing.
Yeah, well, definitely. Especially, Xbox have been coming out talking about that loads. They've been saying that, they've had EA games added into it. Such a huge fuss has been made of Game Pass that PlayStation sort of did need to deliver. And the fact that they've come out and said, so you've got Game Pass, which is great, and you've got all the games that are going on there. Remember that we have the good games. So really, that's the most important thing. And the fact that they are giving you the good games on day one, and all it takes is signing up to PlayStation Plus, is just brilliant.
Yeah, it's exactly right. They're really pushing the fact that, we have all the exclusives. And now we're going to push a service side of it that will hopefully continue. I was saying to you earlier that the big problem is that if you just want a big catalogue of games, young and old, you're getting amazing value from the Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass. That is really good value. It's pretty incredible. But what you never know with Xbox, and this has been the case for a generation and a half, is what's happening in the future. They haven't They don't have that sort of gearing you up towards something vibe. This is something that PlayStation have always been good at. They're always pushing for something, even if it went a bit wrong at the start of the PS3. You knew about the Blu-ray and you knew about blah 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 blah, whatever it was they were doing at the time. So they've always got this looking ahead thing. So you know that when you get into that ecosystem, there's going to be boom, something drop, boom, something drop. This is coming. With Xbox, it's great value, but it's so uncertain. It's so unbelievably uncertain, and there's nothing to really get you excited for what's happening in the future. So the situation is now, if you're happy with the value you get from Game Pass and all the games you get, and it is great, then you can just like kind of sit and hope that actually the Xbox Series X generation will ramp up in the future and actually start getting somewhere, and some exclusives will come in. That's on you. But with PlayStation, there's now a sense of, look at all these amazing games. Look at how good this system is, and now we're offering more services, and here's what we've got in the future. So you kind of get a feeling that you're settling in for the long haul, whereas with Xbox, it's a bit more like, I'm kind of happy, I've got all this going on, but not really knowing what's going to happen in the future.
It's a touch more of a gamble, and yeah, there's an air of uncertainty with Xbox. I mean, all I know that I'm excited for the future of Xbox, really, if I'm totally honest with myself, is one day we'll get Halo Infinite, and hopefully it'll be a good game. And we have already seen, just within this one conference, nearly several games that I'm excited about, and that's all within the space of the first year of it being out. Anyway, yeah, like you said, I think there is a wider discussion to be had about the value once we know everything about what there will be to offer. Yeah, once we've really got it all out in front of us, we'll know sort of what you get for your money and what you get, the bang for buck. And dare I say, there's bound to be more announcements before these consoles are even out. I know Xbox have said that it's not the last that they've got to say, but
yeah.
You kind of, I don't know. We'll get to that. Anyway, so they had the PlayStation Plus collection announcement, which was great. And then the moment that we had sort of all been waiting for.
Finally.
And, if you've been listening this far podcast just for this moment, good on you, because
it's been a huge meme.
It has been a huge meme. So we got the prices and the release date for the PlayStation 5. So we know there's two versions. It's a bit more straightforward. Hallelujah. It's a bit more straightforward than what Xbox are doing. It's two of the same console. One is a disc, one is fully digital. The fully disc version is going to be the same price as the Xbox Series X, which is £449. That's the Big Daddy console. It's got all the bells and whistles, and the bells and whistles is a DVD player or a Blu-ray 4K Ultra Boy, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Then they have the digital console. It has no disc drive whatsoever. That will be £359, so £90 less.
Yeah,
the consoles. I was just.
Yeah, go on. Let's get it all out.
Yeah, I was just to say the consoles. November 12th, the consoles will be releasing in the US, Japan, and Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. I think that was the list. I might be wrong. And everywhere else in the world, so that goes to all us UK people and anyone else listening from around the world, will be November 19th. So 9 days later than the Xbox in the UK is when the PlayStations are released. Mark, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, my thoughts are that they always knew that release date and weren't necessarily going to be bothered by when the Xbox was releasing. I think that probably would be the case in terms of pricing. Yeah, I think the disc version, I wonder whether they were waiting. I don't know whether they wanted to soften the blow in terms of knowing that £450 is quite a lot of money, and therefore matching that is kind of like, hey, look, they are too. That's just the price. That's the price of tech these days. So I don't know whether they're waiting for that reason, or whether they're waiting because actually they wanted to sell it for $499.99 and then went, we can't really sell it for that because they've
That's
done $450.
What my
so let's drop the price.
inkling is. Yeah.
I'm kind of either way on that. It's either they were waiting to soften the blow and wait for Microsoft to do it before they did, or they actually wanted to sell it for a little bit more. Not sure.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, I think they don't. Obviously, they're gonna want to sell the console for as much as they can possibly get away with. Like, yes, they would ideally like to make that extra £50 per console. But if they had come out $499 and Xbox had come out $449, then Xbox would be selling two consoles that are both cheaper than both PlayStation units. So really, their only option was to price match.
Yeah. In terms of the digital edition, it's pretty much on the money of what we predicted. It's that 350 to 400 mark. So it is nice to see it under the 400 mark. I think that's a good decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of that price, I think I don't know what Xbox are in trouble, because the thing is that those consoles are identical apart from the disc drive. There's no worrying about it being a lesser thing or whatever. Potentially the £250 Xbox S is like really good value, but man, it's going to be an interesting fight, this one, because that is a very reasonable price tag. I think
it really, really is. It's slightly less than I would have thought it was going to be. I'm surprised that they valued just the disc drive at £90. But I mean, I'm not very knowledgeable about that sort of thing, but I'm surprised that contributes so much to the price. Yeah, I think that. For me, my gut reaction is I'm thinking, right, I'm getting a digital PS5. I'm totally sold. Makes so much sense. But I now think I'm not going to get the Xbox Series X, which is the 449 console. I'm thinking, what makes sense to me now is I'm going to get the digital PS5, which is the powerful console, and I'm going to get the Series S at £250 if I can afford to do that both, which would be incredible. And I'm getting two consoles for 600-ish quid. Which is great.
If you're willing to pay for your Game Pass alongside owning a PlayStation and getting PlayStation Plus as well. Well, actually, that's before I say what I'm going to say. Are you willing to pay for both of those services, or are you going to switch for now?
Probably not. So this is the thing. As in, like, right now, my gut reaction is out of all of the consoles on offer, based on what I've seen today, my gut is saying I should get the digital PS5. But then there's the conversation of, and it's going back to, I'm very much within the Xbox ecosystem. So if I did that, would I sever my ties and stop paying for Game Pass, or would I just keep my Xbox One and just keep using that? They're all questions that I need to have a think about.
If you decided to keep both subscription up, you could hold on to your Xbox One until, either the next gen Xbox looks a little brighter and there's some stuff coming out, and then you can upgrade, because a lot of the games that are coming out aren't even next gen. There's a lot of like cross gen going on. So actually, there's no rush for Xbox people to necessarily dart over to the next gen. Is what I was wondering. So it is an interesting one.
I mean, I can't see myself paying for two subscription models, if I'm totally honest, just because there will be a lot of games that will be in both, and it's really only the exclusives for PlayStation that I would want it for. But it's that PlayStation Plus collection that is pretty awesome.
It's pretty banging.
I can't see myself paying for both subscription models. And in which case, then am I thinking, well, do I just stop altogether with Xbox, forget about it, and then just get the digital PS5 and then pay for the... Mark, this has left me with so many more questions than answers.
And you know what? That's okay. So before we wrap up the podcast, I'm going to be away for the next 2 weeks. So the podcast is going to be on hiatus for 2 weeks, which means that you have 2 weeks to let it settle in your brain. Because I think we are both a little bit taken aback by what we've just seen. It's all very exciting. And also we want to firm up some of those numbers and the details and the subscription details and prices and stuff.
Yep.
So once that's all sort of settled in our brain cakes and we've had multiple sleeps on it, we're going to have another chat when I come back about this and the state of the console war and see where it's at in 2 weeks.
I mean,
which will be a great one.
I don't know how I feel about this, Mark. I know you're going to be away for 2 weeks. I mean, I could just do a 1 hour sort of it would be external monologue of me convincing myself about which console I should buy, and it'll sound like the slow unraveling of a very troubled mind.
And just slap a load of reverb on it, make it sound like you're in a dungeon.
Hey,
put a drip behind it in your background.
Hey, there is an audience out there for it. It's probably
I'm sure there
probably
is.
just Lawal, but apart from him, I'm fairly sure no one would care for it. But yeah, you're right. So much of this needs to settle in. I'm very much looking forward to going on my phone and looking at Twitter to see how people have reacted. Seen a couple of tweets of people just saying, "Face it, Xbox, you've lost." So
I think they've really put the pressure on in a really, 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 really big way, because the presentation of it was way better than the Xbox showcase in terms of actual presentation, but also it just puts a lot of faith in the ecosystem and like the pricing and the fact that the console is there's no small version of it that's weaker and all this sort of thing. It just puts a lot of faith in the
and
in
just
the brand
games,
and the
man.
product.
Like, I mean, there was
games.
obviously a lot of games in there that aren't PlayStation exclusives, like the Harry Potter one, Resident Evil, obviously Black Ops. There's a good few of them, but PlayStation have obviously paid a lot of money to get them shown in their showcase. But just like, I'm thinking back to the Xbox showcase now, apart from them revealing Fable and the RPG by Obsidian.
From Obsidian,
They're the two biggest games. Obviously, the Halo thing we've talked about a lot, but those two games I'm very excited about. But like, I have no clue when those games are anywhere near. And just within that showcase we've just watched, Mark, I saw so much that I am excited for. And Xbox, I'm sorry, lads, but we just don't have much going for us these days.
But hey, they really attempted to put that final nail in the coffin, because right at the end, they did another little one more thing reveal.
It never gets old.
And it was a very, very... Oh, it never gets old. It was a very, very, very small teaser for another God of War.
Yes, boy. Yes, indeed. It's just had some of had the voice actor who played Kratos in the recent God of War, and it's going to be called Ragnarok. Well, we got the tease and it said Ragnarok is coming in 2021.
Christopher
Judge, yes, of course, who played Teal'c in the Stargate show.
Stargate,
yeah, that was
SG-1.
what a great show. Teal'c. I'm surprised that's 2021. That feels like a mad quick turnaround, because that game came out 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
It is 2 years ago. Obviously, the PlayStation 5 hardware and the sort of dev kits would have been out probably quite a long time ago, so they would have been able to chug away at it quite early. So I'm not super surprised, but I think it's quite a big, and it's just another string to their bow that a lot of people just loved that new God of War. Again, we haven't played it because we don't have PS4s, but a lot of people loved that and will just be like, "Oh, sweet, there's another one coming," and it's not that far away.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just another big old slap in the face.
Based on everything we've had and everything all of those kind of tentpole PlayStation franchises. I mean, and with the Spider-Man one as well, all we're really waiting for is eventually, what is the next Naughty Dog project going to be? Is it going to be something in the Uncharted universe? Is it going to be another Last of Us title? Is it going to be a totally new IP? It's just exciting to think that you already have all of these incredible games, and there's stuff we don't even know about. Yeah, PlayStation, man. Maybe I've been sleeping on them for too long, eh?
Maybe just a tad.
Maybe just a tidbit. So that's our very, very, very fresh, off the cuff reactions to the PlayStation showcase there. A lot of reveals. We'd love to know what you thought about it. Please do get in touch and let us know what you thought. If you thought it was good, if you thought it was better than what Xbox has shown, what you thought of the showcase in general, how slick it was. They went back to some of those nice white and blue lights that I like a lot. It's smooth and it feels nice in my eyes.
Slightly sad we didn't see any of the forbidden caviar there.
Yes.
Would have liked to see the return of the forbidden caviar.
We weren't served any of the FC. Where was it? I was hankering for a bit of the fishy goodness.
I think everyone scooped it right up and put it on a cracker. It's all gone from last Sony showcase.
There was no caviar to be had at the Xbox showcase, that's for sure. Okay, well, like we keep saying, there is so much more to unpack about everything we've just talked about, and also the sort of I suppose the state of the console war, now that we know a lot of information. We know the prices. We can speculate about who we think we're going to sell, who's going to sell more. And we can also speculate about the value. If we think, which version of the console will be good for what audience. Let us know what you think you're going to buy. And we've got a lovely little email address, haven't we, Mark, that you can get in touch with us on if you have any thoughts.
Yeah, we do. pushingbuttonspod@gmail.com. I'll say it again. pushingbuttonspod@gmail.com. Please email in. Or
give us an email.
Yeah, do it. Or follow us on social media at PB Podcast UK, that's Twitter, or at Pushing Buttons Pod, that's Instagram.
Yes.
I think once we got all those sweet deets about everything's out there on the pages, on the websites, on all the sites, we can see them in lovely columns. We can have a lovely chat about what's going on both sides of the fence.
Thanks for listening on Spotify, Apple Pod, YouTube, Deezer, Stitcher, wherever you're listening, wherever you found us. Please keep listening. Thanks for listening. And we'll catch you in a couple of weeks' time when I come back off hiatus.
Mark, I hope your hiatus is all right, and I hope nothing bad happens to you during it.
Oh, cheers, man.
I hope you stay safe. I hope you stay mentally well. And if you do at any point need to text me, I'd be happy to send you a care package containing kettle chips and Nesquik.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Can you send it to Devon, please? That's where I'll be.
You'll be in Devon. Yep, sure. Yeah, I'm fairly sure there's no Nesquik to be had in Devon, so I'll make sure to send you that in a lovely package.
Thank you very much.
Lovely stuff. We have been Mark Liddell and
Joe Bellum.
Swift. Lovely back and forth there.
It's just incredible. It's like we've been doing it for years.
I know, right? Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mohammed, when we call, will he answer? And when he emails, he causes a fuss, that's always a plus. And his tweets are punny, but he knows his stuff, and we can't get enough of it.